students, so it's on a first-come, first-served basis. The museum is located at 100 North Central Avenue in Little Tokyo. Go to janm.org for more details. And with 2 successful ciclavias under their belts, organizers are ready for a third ciclavia on Sunday, October 9th. For those unfamiliar with the event, Ciclavia temporarily removes cars from some of LA's most popular streets and opens them up to cyclists and pedestrians. It all happens from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. In addition to 7.5 miles from downtown to East Hollywood shut down last time, this ciclavia will extend to parts of Chinatown and South LA. Go to ciclavia.org for more information. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. Who Said Lobster was reserved for fine dining? Tens of thousands of people headed out to San Pedro on a recent weekend to partake in the annual tradition of chowing down on lobster at the Port of LA's most popular community event. Come one, come all to the Lobster Festival in San Pedro. Folks flock to the crustacean-themed event ready to dig in. The 13th annual Lobster Festival at the Port of San Pedro even earned a Guinness World Record last year for the most seafood served outdoors. And boy, was it a good deal. A traditional Maine lobster meal for $19 got you a lobster, coleslaw, red potatoes, a roll, and a buttery dipping sauce. And if you were hungry enough for 2 lobsters, well, that was just $33.
This is the first time for me, and I'm loving it.
To meet the demand, event organizers ordered 36,000 lobsters from Maine to cook and serve for the weekend. An estimated 30,000 people attended the 3-day festival. And just on the opening and slowest night of the 3-day event, a record 4,000 lobster meals were sold.
Yeah, look at that. That is beautiful, don't it? Thanks a lot. Lobster fest all the way.
And lobster wasn't the only thing on the menu. Over 30 other offerings, including those from 5 gourmet food trucks, were there for the public's culinary enjoyment. And they couldn't eat it fast enough.
Very good. Very good. First time here? Great. I'm enjoying it. Pretty good.
An event that everyone in the community, including those working at the event, eagerly anticipates each and every year.
Not only does the public look forward to it now, but we've got over 500 people that we employ that use their work here to pay for back-to-school expenses and earn money for their families' Christmases. So it's really a job creator as well as a festival.
They served lobster, ate lobster, and wore lobster. And if they didn't get their fill, well, there's always next year. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow us on Facebook for a sneak peek of stories we're working on. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Sometimes things don't always go as planned, except when you vote. You can be assured when you vote on Election Day using InkaVote Plus, you won't accidentally vote a blank ballot, and the reader will check your ballot for overvotes. You can count on your ballot being accurate. It's nice to know some things do go as planned.
I'm Craig Irwin in Los Angeles.
Hi, I'm Trenton Irwin, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35, Our City, Our Channel.
Welcome to the Senior Center's Directors Knowledge Fair, being held today at the Braille Institute over in Vermont. Many of you are familiar with that. Today it's a gathering of all of the directors of the senior centers around the city, where they share knowledge and help each other utilize the best practices for our seniors here in Los Angeles. So please stay tuned. We have a very interesting show for you today. Welcome back to Aging Well in LA. And today we are with the chiefs of our area aging. We have Laura Trejo, the general manager of Los Angeles City, correct?
Correct.
And Cynthia Banks with the county.
Yeah.
Now that's kind of amazing that you have these two structures, but it's very important because we're such a large city. Laura, can you tell me about the gathering today?
Today we're here convening all of the senior center directors within the entire Los Angeles County region. We have over 150 representatives here from throughout our geography, which is pretty wonderful. They are here to get information, get to know one another, and really our hope is that they walk away with tools so that they can improve the services they deliver to seniors in the community when they get home.
Well, the networking is so important. Now, Cynthia, I get to brag on this. This is an award-winning gathering. This actually got national recognition, correct?
Yes, it did. Last year in St. Louis, Missouri, as part of the National Association of Area Agencies on Aging, we were awarded a national award for the innovation of bringing our senior center directors together. We believe that this is the first of its kind, but hopefully not the last.
Well, what kind of positive things have come out of this? Is the second now, so what kind of positive things came out of it the first time, Laura?
Actually, we're on our third year. We do two of them a year. We have an incredible attendance rate, which is really an important thing because our senior center directors are now working collaboratively. For one of my favorite examples was a senior center director shared with us that they now have hula night at their senior center because the senior director down the road always had hula night because they had all the decorations. Now she could go and borrow them and offer it to her seniors at her center. It may sound like a very small thing, but it is a enriching activity for the older persons that otherwise they would not have enjoyed. So what's happening is that they're getting to know one another, they're beginning to share resources, sharing information, and really developing a network that is communicating effectively across geography so that seniors all over the city and county of Los Angeles can get the best services possible.
Well, that's good.
And our focus really is the senior. And we share that with our senior center directors because we want them to understand that what they can learn from each other is better than what they can grow, sometimes within their own community. And it's important for them to get that information to make sure that they enrich the lives of the seniors of which they serve.
Well, there are a lot of bright people involved in this, and I'm sure the innovations come so quickly that sometimes you're left in the dark unless you talk to people who are in a similar position.
Yes, and I think one of the issues that are facing our senior center directors are the baby boomers.
Yes.
They're an eclectic mix of individuals who have different needs than our older seniors. And so our Directors Fair today is focusing in on the needs of our baby boomers.
Well, so many of them are caught, what do they call them, the sandwich generation. They still have children in college, or maybe just out of college, living at home, and they're caring for aging parents. That can be a crushing responsibility.
It can be, and it's also a big challenge to senior center directors trying to really reinvent themselves, the services that they offer, and the opportunities that they can create within their centers to meet the needs of this emerging population. So part of what we do through the Directors Knowledge Fair is we bring state-of-the-art experts in an array of fields so that they can learn from them firsthand. They don't have to wait for the book or for the article to come out. They get to talk to them here. in Los Angeles, we're very fortunate in that we have some of the foremost experts in the nation.
Yes.
So we draw from them to make up our programs, and we believe that that's really having a positive impact on the services that are being delivered at our local centers.
Well, I thought it's so amazing. I didn't understand this, and I was, born in L.A. The cooperation among our major universities with their geriatric studies and Dr. Panos with the fall protection and learning how all of these things need to be shared and then disseminated into the community. And yes, Cynthia.
Well, you're exactly right. We do have a rich partnership with our local universities and research areas. They have provided us information on the fall prevention program, on just overall statistics, and they also assist us with bringing in the young individuals who want to get into geriatrics.
Right.
And so many of the local universities provide us with interns that help us with programs to do the innovation that we hope to do.
I've met some of them, and they're doing their research, but it's hands-on research. And of course, the special feature of Los Angeles is the diversity of our cultures. How many languages are we working with here, with all of these directors?
We speak with an array of languages in Los Angeles, over 150 languages spoken in our region. That's one of the challenges to our centers. You can never really hire enough staff to speak to the communities that you serve. So volunteerism, we want to encourage the viewing public. When they have an opportunity to volunteer, especially if they speak another language, they could really be a lifeline for members of the community in need, and they're always welcome to volunteer at our centers or any of the other public agencies that work in the community to serve the diversity and richness of Los Angeles.
And it is enriching for the senior who volunteers because they find new enthusiasms and new contacts, and that's just one of the great features of volunteering in the whole world of senior activities. Thank you very much. Now we'll be right back with more from the Director's Knowledge Fair. Please stay tuned to Aging Well in L.A.
Hello, I'm Dr. Scott Kaiser, board-certified family physician and geriatric medicine specialist, and welcome to The Empowered Patient. I'm joined by a very special guest today, Jerry Phillips, who's going to talk to us about taking charge of our health, how he's found little tricks of the trade and ways to get more out of his health care. How you doing, Jerry?
Glad to meet you, Doctor, and thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. So, Jerry, you tell me you were going to a lot of different doctors.
Before I found the doctor, I had many doctors, a rheumatologist, a cardiologist, a dermatologist, a dentist, an eye doctor, and sometimes they were prescribing things.
Seems you have a doctor for each different body part.
That's true. And today you need that. But you need a general, like General Eisenhower, to coordinate all of the doctors, so you don't have one doctor giving one advice and another doctor giving another advice. The primary physician, in my case, made the decision with me. I don't believe a doctor should be paternalistic. You should be working as a team where I have something to say about my own life and health.
So do you have a main doctor in charge who helps sort all these things out, keep everything in line?
Correct. He helps me to make the decision.
So Jerry, having this main doctor allows you form a partnership with this primary doctor, allows you to make better decisions, work as a partnership, work as a team.
Absolutely. And even today, I mean, before I had the primary physician, I had many doctors, but I still have many doctors. But if I am confused with anybody, what they are saying, what they recommend, I talk to the primary physician at all times.
So in sorting through this, you found that it was important to have a second opinion. And with this, these are complicated decisions, particularly around whether or not you're going to have a surgery. So you're sorting through this with your primary care doctor and using them as a resource.
One doctor suggested I had a hernia. He didn't suggest an operation, although I complained about a hernia problem. He said, it doesn't hurt you that much, leave it alone. I went to the primary physician. He said, I don't like that advice. I think you should take care of it while your health is good. And I went to a surgeon, and he said, no, let's take care of it now. You're in good health. I did, and it's wonderful.
So good. And Jerry, we were talking about this booklet here that I suggested you read, this Talking with Your Doctor, available from the National Institute on Aging, available online or by calling in, free to anyone. Do you have any thoughts on this booklet? Anything you found particularly helpful? Things that our audience might want to know more about?
There's one thing that they didn't stress enough, I think, but it was an excellent work, and that is on 2 occasions. One I went to be operated on, and the doctor asked my advice on something, the surgeon, and I didn't think that I was able to handle that question. And I said, talk to my people outside, let them make the decision. Another time, my son was in an operation.
So wait, hold on. Let me understand that. So there was a point where you weren't able to make a decision on your own?
I didn't think I could make the decision.
Because you were under sedation?
I was under sedation.
So you had assigned a family member. You assigned your son to make the decision in your place?
Not only my son, my daughter, and my wife.
Well, Jerry, thank you so much for...
God bless you, doctor, and good luck to you. You're doing wonderful work on this.
Thanks so much.
I'm taking charge of my health. I'm an empowered patient.
Welcome back to Aging Well in LA. Got something very interesting for you veterans out there and surviving spouses. I'm with Kathleen O'Sullivan and Bonnie Lederman. Did I get it right?
You did.
I did. This is a fascinating topic, the benefits that may be available to senior veterans. Bonnie, explain how you got this started.
Paul, in 2003, I started Veterans Home Care because my mom, Edie Sperling, passed away previously from breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It was consuming my trips back and forth. They were countless, from St. Louis to California.
Mm-hmm.
My mom needed home care, but her income was extremely low. I had nobody to help us. And when I did my research in the later months of her illness, I found that the Veterans Administration has a pension. It's called Aid and Attendance, and it's specifically used for home care.
I see.
And the benefit is strictly for veterans of wartime and surviving spouses.
I see.
The uniqueness of this is that my company, Veterans Home Care, helps veterans and surviving spouses get home care through this pension from the Veterans Administration. It has 3 requirements. Basically, it's for veterans and surviving spouses of the wartime eras, and they are World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam War.
Right.
The 3 requirements, of course, the person had to serve at least 90 days with 1 day during wartime of active duty. They need to have an honorable discharge. They also have to have a serious medical condition, which keeps them approximately 60% housebound.
I understand. Okay.
And not driving.
Well, and non-medical home care, or even medical home care, is a much more efficient way to deliver services to people. Besides that, they're home and in familiar surroundings. Kathleen, is this a big population? I mean, you're not going to shock me if you tell me it's tens of thousands of people.
Oh, it's thousands of people. 45% of our seniors here are veterans.
Wow. Well, now, that's not surprising. Everybody was involved, especially World War II, and that's really got to be the bubble of the population. So how does a person access these programs? Do they call to buy your company, or is there a 800 number?
It's 877-878-4248.
Okay, and we'll have that on the screen. Get your pencil and paper out. So say it again, please.
877-878-4248.
Okay, and is there a website as well?
Yes.
And
our
that is?
website is I left the W out.
That's okay, we know that.
veteranshomecare.com.
veteranshomecare.com. All right. Now, once you became energized on this subject, were you surprised when you saw how many people needed this service?
I knew it in my heart. When my mom was ill, I called my husband. I said, we're starting a new business because
Right.
there have to be thousands of people that are going through exactly what I went through in taking care of my parent. And the pension is difficult to get because you have to spend more than your income on medical expenses in order to receive this.
I understand, but that's not so hard to do with the costs of prescriptions and all the rest. Some of us are really being hammered.
The only qualifying expense that you can use is home care.
I see.
And most people can't afford to pay for home care and the rent. So that's what's unique about Veterans Home Care. We front the money for the veteran and surviving spouse. And when they get the money from the pension, they reimburse us for the services that we've given them.
I see. Well, that's wonderful because so often the upfront costs of getting into a program are so intimidating. People say, oh, I don't have the resources to do this.
And they throw their hands up.
Yeah. Now, Kathleen, talk to me about planning ahead. What if you're like the son or daughter of a veteran who may be in this position? Can you kind of plan ahead to get these services in place before the need arises?
Yes, that's a great idea to do that. You know, there's a lot of paperwork to compile together.
I'm sure.
That, you know, they need to do that. So preparing for that is the best way because I pre-qualify them.
And then what?
Okay.
I missed that.
The papers that they need are going to be the discharge paper, which should be honorable, the marriage license, the death certificate of the spouse, and they need bank statements and a Social Security award letter.
You got to prove all of this stuff. Well, I hope this has been of value to you veterans out there who may be in this very unique position. Well, not so unique. Probably a lot of people out there are in this position. Help is available. We'll be putting back the telephone number and the website for you. So please access this program. There's help available. We'll be right back.
We're here to scientifically prove the end result of riding a bicycle against traffic. The average car weighs 6,000 pounds. The average bicycle with rider weighs 170 pounds, give or take a few. A typical car traveling 35 miles per hour has 220 times the momentum or energy of a bike rider traveling 10 miles per hour. And if the two collide, bug splatter. Avoid being bug splatter.
Ride right, stop at the light, watch the road.
Yo, check this out. I'm at the light, right? Dude was trying to fill me out, so I blew right past him. Yeah, I won. But I wasn't the real winner because he's alive and I'm dead.
What about my family? I wasn't even part of your street race. Now I'm dead.
And don't even think, man, that'll never happen to me, dog, because that's what I thought. And now, I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye.
Listen, life is important. Drive responsibly. Learn more at watchtheroad.org.
Welcome back to Aging Well in LA. Now, anybody in this city knows that we have a great park system. And I want to introduce you to Anthony Montanez, who is with our city park system. And welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Our parks play an amazing key role in the lives of seniors because they can access those facilities. What were some of the special things you learned today about the role that the parks play in lives of seniors?
Well, what I learned through the speaker that spoke earlier was how we can attract the baby boomers. There's a lot of people out there that don't realize that they are seniors.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And making our senior centers more attractive to them.
Sure. Now, what was the discussion? It was like games or outings?
More outings, camping, skiing, going out, jogging, mountain biking, just fun things to do.
Yeah.
Not just sitting there and playing bingo and other, table games are great.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Some people want to get out and enjoy the outdoors.
Well, I think so. And the boomers are a lot more active. They like golf outings and going up the mountains, which are nearby, that's for sure. So is this something that you will pass on to activities directors at the various facilities?
Yes, a lot of our directors are in the Knowledge Fair, and they're attending.
Yes.
And hopefully they'll take that back, and we'll discuss it and how we can get some additional funding to do a lot of this.
Right, well, additional funding, that's going to be a challenge in these times, that's for sure. But have the parks, have they been able to maintain at least a level of service that is sufficient?
I think we have. We haven't really had any major cutbacks. We have had some cutbacks, but I think we're going to be okay. And we've got a good group of people out there working hard. We have a great volunteer corps, which really steps up during these times.
Well, I think it's great that when people, once they can get themselves there the first time, they sort of fall into the lifestyle, don't they?
Oh, yes. They do.
And then they bring their best ideas, which I like to see.
Oh, yeah.
Now, are the nutrition programs delivered at parks, are they still going on?
Yes, they are. We have several different nutrition programs that come to our parks.
Right. I know I've always been encouraged to see how often our seniors are really getting a good meal and some guidance for nutrition at home.
Yeah, that's a great thing about this. They, the meals, I know they're not, they're filled with a lot of spices and salts and stuff,
Right.
but they're healthy meals, and they also get the information they need to take it home and make better meals at home.
Right, I think so. And the best part, though, is the socialization. Seniors getting together with their common interests, even if it's pulling out your wallet and saying, well, I've got a new grandkid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, show their pictures.
Are the leagues still going on, the bowling leagues and the pool leagues and things like that?
We do have aqua aerobics,
great.
water fitness programs at some of our facilities. We have a lawn bowling at Arcadia Park.
Great.
And that seems to attract a lot of people, and it's a great sport.
That's good. Seniors got to get out more often. Anthony Montanez, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.
Welcome to Braille Institute, a nonprofit organization that has been designed to work with individuals with fading vision. Please come along with us as we explore our Vista store, a store that has many different items and accessories that can support individuals with fading vision. I'm here with our Vista store coordinator, Jorge Marquez, who will explain some of the wonderful items that we have here available for people with low vision.
Okay. Hi. Here are a few devices that we have in our store. We have a 10x magnifier mirror. We also have a low vision keyboard with large print as well. We have an atomic talking watch and also with large numbers so that the person can either look at the numbers or can hear the voice. We have a large print button TV remote control that will make it also easier for the person with fading vision. There is a large print big address book. We also have a giant print address book, which is much larger than the one before, with numbers and names that can be very bold in lines. And we also have as well a pocket address book with large words and numbers. We have a pen that is called 2020. This pen will write in bold and it doesn't leak and it doesn't go through the page. As you can see, 1, and you can see the numbers really bold for them. Okay. As you can see, these devices are very useful for individuals with fading vision. Come and see us at any time. We're here for you. And enjoy. Thank you.
As you can see, we have so many opportunities here for people with fading vision. You may know somebody who has fading vision, or you yourself may have vision that's not doing so well. Remember, we are here. Come and see us. We are here to help you. Almost all of our students have some vision. Only 10% of people have no vision at all. You could be one of those, somebody with macular degeneration, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, or even cataracts. All of those are the people that are here. People with those diseases are the people that are here at Braille Institute. So please, come join us. Your life can be very good again.
Welcome back to Aging Well in LA. We are still here at the Senior Center's Directors Gathering at the Braille Institute with a longtime friend of our show, Larry Lisenby, it's great to see you again, Larry.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Are you enjoying the conference?
Absolutely. It was incredible this morning.
Yeah? I heard there was a standing ovation.
It was. He had clearly done his homework.
Mm-hmm.
He gave us some really good practical suggestions about what we can do going forward to make our senior centers a success and to meet the needs of the boomers and the seniors.
Well, it's especially challenging in this year with the downsizing and the budget cuts. How are you doing over there at One Generation? Are the challenges insurmountable?
No, they're surmountable. We think we're going to survive, but we've lost staff due to layoffs, and those layoffs are a result of cutbacks in government funding and reductions in grants that are available out there.
Yeah, well, and the economy is flat. I don't know what else to call it. And isn't it remarkable this happens at exactly the time when the needs are increasing because there are more and more seniors?
It's as if there were an inverse relationship. Just as our funding goes down, the need for services has gone up.
It's remarkable. I know I spoke with the seniors group, and we were talking about the greater need for volunteers who can help fill in the gap with their wisdom and their energy.
Yes, and because of cutbacks in staffing, the need for volunteers is going to increase this coming year.
I think so.
Most seniors would not be able to function, in my opinion, without additional volunteers.
It's true. This is a place where we really have to plug the holes. We need to step up, and whether it's meal delivery or food service or transportation or just someone to help run the dance class, for goodness sake.
Yes. We're increasingly relying upon volunteers to conduct our programs, activities, exercises.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, a volunteer gets so much more back. I know I see that across the board. The volunteers are just, they beam with pleasure knowing they're doing some good for their community.
And the good news in all this is as the baby boomers come online, more of them are interested in serving as opposed to being served.
Right.
So they're looking for meaningful outlets, and they have a lot to contribute.
Well, when you come away from this gathering, will you have some new ideas and some fresh approaches, you think?
Absolutely. I'm excited about getting back to my staff and saying, look, these are some of the things we learned about as ways we can attract seniors to our center, make it more attractive, make their experience here more meaningful, more relevant. So that should be a good outcome.
That's a good reason to have these conferences. Like-minded people sharing their best ideas.
Yeah, yes, it is. We do this every 6 months, and we always go away with things that we can do to make our centers more effective, more attractive, and to benefit the seniors.
Great. Well, Larry, thank you again for being with us today. It's a great pleasure. And thanks so much for being with us today on Aging Well in L.A.
An emergency can happen at any time.
Earthquake!
That's why you need to be prepared. Put together an emergency kit with food, water, a first aid kit, a flashlight, radio, and some tools.
I can't believe it, it's an earthquake!
You're never too old to prepare.
Ah, get out of there!
Get the message? Be prepared.
Get out of the house!
Need a recycling center? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall. Graffiti removal? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall.
Parents, distinguished faculty, mom, dad. Today's lesson, how to exercise with your kids and save the planet. First, you must believe. B, that your children really are the future. Second, you must do. Instead of jumping in the car, let's go for a walk, or a run, or even a bike ride. No pollution, no oil, no gas. And as long as we obey all traffic safety rules, rules for cool. Lastly, you have to live. Live into our big, beautiful, healthy future. Be, do, live. Watch the road.
G'day, Troy McCubbin from North Hollywood. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35, our city, our channel.
council members Englander, Koretz, and I know we have Mr. Alarcon and downstairs, Mr. Weezar and Mr. Krikorian as well. As soon as we have a quorum, we'll begin the meeting. I know some horrible traffic on the west side has kept a couple people a few minutes late, but we do have a lot of presentations today, so we should be fine with quorum, but wanted to just encourage council members Cardenas, Parks, Reyes, I know Mr. Rosendahl I spoke to, he's on his way, and Mr. Design to please make their way. Oh, there. Thank you. So we'll begin shortly. If everybody just hold tight, and we have a number of presentations, beginning with Council District 5, but we're not yet live on TV. We'll go live in about 2 or 3 minutes, and we'll start with a celebration of the high holidays. morning, Los Angeles, and welcome to the City Council meeting for Friday, October 7th, 2011. We're here in the John Farrar, we're not in the John Farrar Council Chambers. We're in the Van Nuys City Council Chambers here in Van Nuys, where we come every other month on Friday to bring City Council closer to the residents of the San Fernando Valley and welcome our viewers on Channel 35 who are with us today, as well as those folks who are joining us through the internet at lacity.org and live here in person in Van Nuys, or any of the people who are also watching us through our remote facilities in our downtown and our San Pedro City Halls. If you live closer to either of those locations, you can always go to any of the three locations and not only watch the City Council in action, but testify remotely from those locations as well. I'm City Council President Eric Garcetti. I want to welcome the viewers and people of Los Angeles to this meeting and thank those council members who are here, Mitch Englander, Jose Huizar, Paul Koretz, Paul Krikorian, and I know that Richard Alarcon is just outside and a couple other members are about to walk in as well. We have our agendas made available to the public 3 days in advance or 1 day in advance for our special items. Those agendas are posted in public buildings as well as available online at lacity.org. And also online you can get all the supporting materials for each of the items that we will consider and vote on for your convenience. So please avail yourself of that, and we have a schedule of all of our committee meetings there as well. If you're not close to a television or a computer, you can always use your telephone to listen into our meetings as well, one final way to follow the meetings. And you can call a council phone, which is a service of the City Council, and the number is 213-621-CITY. Here in the San Fernando Valley, it's 818-904-9450. And in the west side, it's 310-471-CITY. And you can listen into the council meetings, and any of our committee meetings are also broadcast through the telephone system as well. If you'd like to be heard on any of the items that we have before the council today, just fill out a speaker card here or in San Pedro or downtown and hand that to the city staff, and we'll be sure to get your comments before us. All items today have not yet had public hearing and are agendized as such, so any of the items, just fill out the number in the upper right corner. Or if you'd like to be heard for our general public comment, which is for items not on today's agenda, but nevertheless under the jurisdiction of the City of Los Angeles, you can do so by just putting general public comment in the upper right corner, and we'll be sure to hear your comments as well. Each speaker gets 2 minutes, and that is guided by the clock that is there at the podium, so that will help you guide your time. And we look forward to hearing from a number of people today. We have special presentations every Friday of important institutions and people and dates that are making a difference here in the city of Los Angeles. We have a number of such presentations today. We have one from Council District 5 on the Jewish holidays that are before us. Council District 12 has a presentation for the Los Angeles Police Department. The Daily News will be honored by Councilmember Zine. A second presentation from Council District 12 for a very special LAPD officer for AYSO soccer team, and also Council District 2 has a local hero that they would like to honor as well. So with that, if Council District 5 is ready, Mr. Zine, if you'd be kind enough to take the chair. And I'll recognize Mr. Koretz for our first presentation.
Good morning, everyone. This is a rather wondrous and crucial time of the year for Jews all over the world, and a busy one, too. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Jewish high holidays, I'd like to take a minute and briefly explain. We're currently in the middle of the Jewish high holidays, a 10-day period between Rosh Hashanah, when we celebrate the beginning of the new year, and Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. Synagogues, temples, and congregations all over Los Angeles will be gathering together with family, friends, and neighbors to honor these high holidays. Rosh Hashanah is a time when we celebrate the creation of humanity. It's a time when we can reflect on what we learned the previous year and how we grew as individuals. Customary foods such as apples dipped in honey are eaten to symbolize a sweet new year. Yom Kippur, or the Day of Atonement, is the holiest and most solemn day of the year for Jews. Jews traditionally observe this holy day with a 25-hour period of fasting and intensive prayer, often spending most of the day in synagogue services. The blowing of the ram's horn, also known as the shofar, is heard on Rosh Hashanah as well as on Yom Kippur to mark the end of the fast. I'm honored and humbled to represent such a diverse and active Jewish community in Council District 5. The love, dedication, and commitment that our communities embody are a true sign of our continued prosperity in the city of Los Angeles. When we hear the iconic sound of the shofar this year, I know that I'll be thinking about how lucky I am to be part of such a vibrant and growing Jewish community and Jewish population in this city. And speaking of such a vibrant Jewish community, I'd like to introduce Cantor Nathan Lamb of Stephen S. Weiss Temple, a native of Los Angeles and a true leader, educator, and promoter of Jewish life, its honored values, and its cherished customs. Cantor Lamb exemplifies so much of what the Los Angeles Jewish community has to offer, and I'm excited to have him here with us today. He'll expound upon the significance of blowing the ram's horn, and hopefully will treat us to the sounds of the shofar as well. So, Cantor Lamb, the podium is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Koretz. The shofar, which you see here in front of you, interesting to watch them security. What is that? Don't swing it at anybody. The shofar is, first of all, reminiscent of the ram's horn. If you remember the story of Abraham and his son in the thicket, it's called the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. And that story, Abraham is tested, his faith is tested, and God stops him from sacrificing his son, because that is something that Jewish tradition would be the exact opposite of. He is tested, and so the ram horn in the thicket, this is symbolic of that. As you so beautifully mentioned in your introduction, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, these 10 days are 10 days of penitence. And at this time, we ask to be forgiven, and we reflect upon our own behavior. Jewish tradition says on Yom Kippur you can ask God for all the sins that you've committed, to ask God to forgive you, but if you don't ask the people that you did wrong to the people that you need to ask forgiveness for, then it's for naught. Therefore, it's our tradition that during these 10 days we ask people to forgive us for those things which we may have done that offended them, that hurt their feelings, or that actually wronged them. I was thinking this morning as I was driving up Sepulveda, where I live in the Sepulveda Pass, that the city council owes me an apology for all these days that I have to sit in traffic on the 405. But we'll apologize. Thank you. Accept it.
I ask for your forgiveness.
Thank you. Accept it. Not your call. Thank you, Councilman Krikorian. Thank you. Very nice. In any event, we blow this shofar at the end of Yom Kippur tomorrow. The shofar is a sound which is to remind us, to awaken our inner beings, our inner souls, to becoming better people. That's what, for Jews, the 10 days of penitence are about. We celebrate the beginning of creation of all peoples, and of all peoples everywhere. And we end Yom Kippur by blowing this shofar. Not too soon for many of us who 25 hours of fasting is a real chore. But we do this to awaken in ourselves the betterment not only of the Jewish people, but of humankind. And so our prayer this year is that this year will bring us a year of growth, a year of peace, a year of more acting in the spirit of brotherhood, sisterhood, and in a world that embraces the idea of each one treat the other person as you wish to be treated. So the shofar. Sorry. Better this way. We wish you all a year of happiness, health, peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next presentation will be Mr. Alarcon. Do you want to do one? Mr. Krikorian? You're not ready yet? Well, I'm ready. So, Mr. Garcetti, I'll do my presentation if you'll come take the chair, please. The distinguished council member Dennis Zai will now do a presentation. Thank you. Councilmember Englander is going to join me, our newest member of the City Council, and joining me from the Daily News, the president publisher, Jack Klunder. Jack, please come up. Dennis McCarthy, the famous columnist. Mariel Garza, editorial page editor. Kevin Modosky, editorial writer. Rick Orloff, the City Hall legend. Carolyn Garcia, editor. And Dakota Smith is here to cover for the Daily News. This is a momentous occasion. None of these people look as old as they really are, but they're 100 years old. 100 years old. Daily News celebrating 100th anniversary. And Jack, you don't look a day over 50. 55. The Daily News, the voice of the Valley for 100 years. Daily News celebrating 100th anniversary as the voice of the Valley. It all began October 13th, 1911. With the establishment of a publication that eventually became the Los Angeles Daily News. First issue was published November 3rd, 1911. Front page of that edition featured a commuter train running off the rails in Chatsworth and San Fernando Valley landowners feuding with Los Angeles officials over water. Not much has changed in all those years. The Daily News has been there to bring it all to us, the readers. It has had many names, starting as the Van Nuys Call, before quickly becoming the Van Nuys News, then the Valley News and Green Sheet in the 50s, and the Valley News in the 70s, before becoming the Daily News in 1981. Started as a weekly publication before expanding to 2 days a week in the 20s, 3, then 4 days in the 50s, and 5 and 6 days in the 70s, before going daily in 1979. The Daily News is the Valley's hometown newspaper. After Jack Kent Cooke Media bought the Daily News for $176 million in 1985. The paper continued to expand, built a printing facility in Valencia, then moved the newsroom from Van Nuys, which is close to the City Hall, to a modern building in Woodland Hills. Daily News shot past the 200,000 circulation mark on Sundays in 1988 and was called the nation's fastest growing newspaper. I'm proud to say that in 2008, the headquarters was relocated to the 3rd Council District in Warner Center office complex, where it continues to thrive and be the voice of the Valley. In August 2009, the Daily News was lucky to have newspaper veteran Jack Klunder as its publisher. Jack was the former president of the Los Angeles Times and a 34-year veteran of the newspaper business. Knows that in today's ever-changing newspaper business, that it is important for the paper to maintain its focus on local news, is what the Daily News does. Jack understands that people read the Daily News for its localized coverage and coverage of Los Angeles City Hall and the County of Los Angeles. Today, the paper is proud to report over 575,000 daily readers and 600,000 Sunday readers. And I want to thank the Los Angeles Daily News for their unparalleled coverage of the happenings throughout the San Fernando Valley and the greater Los Angeles area, including the heartfelt features by the legendary Dennis McCarthy, the legendary and sometimes controversial columnist Doug McIntyre, one of my constituents, and the inside scoop on City Hall by veteran reporter who we all love, Rick Orloff, to name a few. May you have another 100 years of wonderful, wonderful accomplishments and success. And I have, after presentation by our discussion by my colleague, a wonderful resolution that we prepared for the Daily News commemorating their 100th anniversary.
A 100 year, what an honor. One of my very first in reporting the news and all the things that Dennis mentioned. But in these tough economic times, when they rely on not only subscriptions, but they also rely on advertisers, and advertisers have pulled way back, they continue to give back philanthropically. They continue not only to give back financially, but they take out space that costs them money in their paper constantly for nonprofit, local, philanthropic events to promote them, to support them. They're constantly out there in the community, not just covering those stories on the beat, but volunteering with those organizations. There's few newspapers like that actually do that, that spend the time outside, away from the desk, taking their pens and putting them down and actually working in the community to volunteer. And so it's 100 years of not only covering local issues and really digging in the trenches to find the right stories to cover, to bring to the readers, but getting involved in community service. So I applaud the Daily News, and let's hear it for another 100 days. God bless you.
100 years.
100 years.
Not such the salesman anymore.
Don't cut them short. Don't cut them short.
They're city days.
You've been looking at our financial statements, huh? Well, thank you very much, Dennis and Mitch, for this. The people who really make the Daily News run are standing behind me, by the way.
Let's hear from them all.
Kevin Modesti writes for the editorial pages. Mario Garza runs the editorial pages. Dennis McCarthy, as you all know, is a fantastic columnist on Page 2. Rick Orloff, you're all very familiar with. And who else do we have? Where's Carolina, our editor? Oh, there she is, our editor who runs the whole place. But what's interesting is we always talk about the newspaper as a print product, but our future is going to be in digital. So we also have 1.7 million visitors to our website every month. So hopefully that number will continue to grow. So the news will continue to get covered. We'll turn over every rock on what's going on in the Valley. How we deliver the news may change over time, but the reporting will never stop. So thank you for this recognition. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We've got a few other members that wish to add their good wishes. I just wanted to also add on to what our two council members there said. I remember being a kid at my grandmother's house and taking the green sheet out and cutting coupons for Boys Market every week with her, back when we had Boys Market, back when it was still the green sheet. And it was also great to see, playing Little League in Encino, that you would cover us locally. It was the first time I think I ever saw my name in print, was playing for the Expos of Encino Little League. Would that, all our coverage was so good all the time. But you have an extraordinary group of individuals, Dennis and Mariel and Rich and Kevin, all the folks that devote yourselves in a moment. You're not just a Valley newspaper. You're a great national newspaper here in a big city. And I especially appreciate when you're able to do the coverage that sometimes we don't see in any of the other papers that are in other parts of the city or who claim to cover the entire city. Daily News really does distinguish itself. So congratulations on 100 years, and may you stay alive and may you continue to report the things that you report to make sure all voices are heard here. And I'd like to recognize Richard Alarcon as well to say a few words. Mr. Alarcon. Mr. Alarcon?
Yes, I just want to join in congratulating the Daily News. Sometimes controversial, but always representing the San Fernando Valley. The important thing is that the Valley, my father, having grown up in the San Fernando Valley since 1923, used to say that whatever the community was over here, whether it was the Mexican community, the African American community, the Asian Pacific Islander community, whatever the community was, and the San Fernando Valley as a whole, was treated as a second-class citizen from all the other parts of Los Angeles, and that orientation actually is captured in the Daily News. Whether or not you like the articles, that is something that has allowed the San Fernando Valley to gain in prominence in terms of how it is juxtaposed in all the arenas of the LA County area, and in large measure it's because of the Daily News. I also want to especially thank Dennis McCarthy for his tremendous humanizing of the people that he writes about, but making them a real part of the Daily News. He's become a tremendous friend, and I've referred several stories to him, and he captures them so well. Of course, Rick Orloff is the anchor of the Daily News in the San Fernando Valley, and in City Hall. and again has become a very dear friend and is part of the City Hall mechanism, whether he likes it or not. And we want to thank him for the tremendous work that he does every day. As difficult as it is, we do appreciate it. The editorial staff, Mario, I don't know. Sometimes we're on the wrong side of stuff, but you do what you do, and we do what we do, and as best as we can. And I know that you do it with the what is it, the trying to maintain what's the word I'm trying to say, fairness, and that's all we ask, is just present it as you can in a fair way. So we want to commend the Daily News for as a lifelong member of the San Fernando Valley. Honestly, I would like to thank the Daily News on behalf of the San Fernando Valley in particular for giving it more stature, more prominence, and really, in many ways, making it. We wouldn't be having this meeting here. If you think about it, we probably wouldn't be having this meeting here today if it were not for the Daily News. So, thank you very much.
One last thing. I want to say one quick thing. Quick thing. Yeah, I'm correcting that. No. Right. I want to go on the record in defense of Mariel Garza and say that she took her life in her hands, and you all know the story. It was years ago. 5 people got into 2 police cars and went out on patrol. It was Dennis Zine, Greg Smith, Alan Scobin, and myself, along with Mariel Garza. And we all went out there, and you all remember the front page of the Daily News when a fight ensued at Galpin Motors, and there was a use of force incident with Starsky and Hutch. But Mariel Garza was there that night in a police car with all of us, and from then on, she has never left the Daily News building. And so I want to commend her for actually coming out today and showing up and leaving the building and seeing daylight for the first time and feeling that she's safe again. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, y'all. Appreciate it. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Valley Council members in the photo.
We'll take a picture with the other council members later. Yeah, you have a good one. We'll take care. We were gonna, if we can call the roll while we're taking the photo, please.
Thank you very much.
Please, yeah, call the roll, please.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Englander, Weezer, Caress, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Weston, Zine, Garcetti, 11 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
All right. First order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
All right. Mr. Englander moves. Mr. Alarcon seconds. Without objection, those will be approved. Next order of business.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Rosendahl moves and Mr. Parks seconds. Without objection, those will be approved as well. We can run through the items that are before us.
Items 1 through 7 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration. There's a request to continue item 7 to October 21st.
Okay. Without objection, we'll continue that.
And I believe Councilmember Alarcon would like item number 6 called special.
Yes, let's call number 6 special for Mr. Alarcon. Do we have cards? We have cards on 1 as well?
Yes.
Okay. On 1C. We can take up the other ones. All right. Let's go ahead on the balance then. If nobody wishes to call any other special, please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right. Those are approved. And Mr. Alarcon has asked for item 6 to be taken out of order. Then we'll come back, finish the presentations, and do public comment as well. Mr. Alarcon? Number 6. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you don't mind, I'll do the item number 6 from here. I'm doing this item number 6 as a presentation as well, because this is to recognize an important event that has been put together by a very special group of not only individuals but countries that are working in our communities, and so Let me first of all thank Gil Cedillo, Assembly member who had to leave for his presence. We have the Consul General of Bolivia, Marco Antonio Cuba, Carlos Augusto Celis Gutierrez, Consul General of Colombia. We have the Consul General of the Dominican Republic, Celeste Jimenez Peña, Consul General of El Salvador, Walter Duran. We have the Vice Consul General of Guatemala, Ricardo Giron, Dax Vinegas, Vice Consul General of Honduras, and Juan Carlos Mendoza, Vice Consul General de Mexico. Maria Fernanda Lopez, who is the community representative for the Consul General of Nicaragua, and most importantly, the Binational Health Week Committee members, which is the organization that I wanted to recognize in particular for the work that they are doing. All of these people and countries and organizations are participating in the Binational Health Week event, in which we are recognizing today. The Health Initiative of the Americas actually began as the California-Mexico Health Initiative in January of 2001 as part of the California Policy Research Center at the University of California. The initiative was created with the intention of educating Mexican immigrants and migrants about health issues and working to give them greater access to health care. As it grew, other Latin American nations joined and participated with Mexico, and now El Salvador, Guatemala, Ecuador, Honduras, Colombia, Nicaragua, and Peru are all participants in this multinational now effort to recognize the Binational Health Week. Clearly, we know as a nation that we do not have a single healthcare system that ensures healthcare for all in a way that is equal. And many communities, particularly Latin American immigrants, to this country do not have adequate health care and do not have access to that health care. So the purpose of this organization is to bring awareness and information and education to these communities. At the same time, we are now providing direct services to the community. And so tomorrow we will be hosting a fair at Richie Valens Park. Last year we did it at Hanson Dam. And the communities of the San Fernando Valley, particularly those who are immigrants, can come and benefit from information that will be provided. This year, the 11th anniversary of the Binational Health Week, 5 national campaigns will be implemented. By the way, I forgot to mention, this has spread beyond California. It is now a national program, and many, many states are recognizing Binational Health Week. So the 5 areas of focus this year will be women's health, mental health, chronic disease, infectious disease, access to healthcare services. In fact, when we were conducting a press conference just a little while ago, there was a person who walked up and clearly was in need of mental health services and probably in need of health services, and it's indicative of the kinds of issues that we have in our community right here at Van Nuys City Hall and throughout the city of Los Angeles and, in fact, the state and country. So it is important that we continue to work to improve opportunities for people to have greater access, whoever they are. In this case, we are focused on immigrants who have come to this country looking for a better life and find that when they are ill, they do not have access to health care. It's an ironic situation. I want to mention that many of, in fact, I think all of these countries have binational, have agreements with the United States, and they provide dual citizenship for those who have become citizens of the United States. They retain their citizenship in their previous country. So this is not just about taking care of immigrants. This is about taking care of our citizens and doing it collectively. As President Garcetti said at the press conference, it is all of our responsibility to take care of our people, whether they are in our country or elsewhere. And so we want to thank all the consulate generals who are here joining us today, and I'd like to introduce them, starting with Marco Antonio Cuba, Consul General of Bolivia.
Oh, we have a change. The vice consul from Mexico.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
There has been a change, and all the vice consuls have agreed that the spokesperson for the entire group will be the Vice Consul General of Mexico, Juan Carlos Mendoza.
Good morning. Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to be here on behalf of the members of the Consular Corps of Latin America. We have been working very hard during the last 11 years. And this morning during the press conference, we were reminding the people the origins of all these efforts. This effort was created in Mexico since 1986, and in the year 2000, we started collaboration with the countries of Central America, and later with all the members of the Latin American community. We have been working very hard. The last year we provide services, medical services, during the month of October to almost 40,000 persons. We are here not only to protect and to promote the rights of the Mexicans, but also to contribute and to support the efforts of the American government in favor of the Latino community. We know that our people here are coming because there is a necessity, not only in our countries, but also here. It doesn't matter how well we do in our own countries. The American economy is a huge economy, and it's a huge magnet that is always and will be always attracting people. So we have been working in order to support the preventive and medical information on these members of our community. And it's an honor for me to inform that there will be a lot of activities tomorrow. We're going to have a huge fair here in the center of the San Fernando Valley. And in addition, during the month of October, the Mexican Consulate will be organizing 275 activities in which 96 partners are going to be participating. So, on behalf of the members of the the Consular Corps of Latin America, I really appreciate and I thank the members of the Council for the support in these activities.
If I may, I'd like to present certificates to all the participants. First, Consulado de Bolivia en Los Ángeles. Consulado de Colombia. Consulado de la República Dominicana en Los Ángeles. El Salvador. Guatemala. Honduras. México. Nicaragua. And also, we'd like to recognize Patricia Veliz Macal for her tremendous work with the Binational Committee. And as this thing grows, it's more and more work. But the most important thing is that this has grown in a way that it benefits citizens of the United States, immigrants to the United States who desire to be citizens, and the community in general. Thank you. Victor Aresti, also the director of the committee. Thank you so much. Guadalupe Garcia. And Claudia Estrada. Oh, sure, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much for, in behalf of the Planning Committee of the Binational Health Week, we want to really thank Council Member Richard Alarcon for the support that we got in the last 2 years putting this comment together in the 7th District. The committee is formed as a community organizations and volunteers from the community. This effort has been growing, and we invite every single council member to take an active role to make sure that the education services are in our communities. We see a lot of health disparities in our communities right now, that a lot of people have no access to health. So we invite every one of you to be part of this, and definitely this year we cannot do this event without the support of Richard Alarcon. So thank you so much on behalf of the committee.
I'd like to present this also to Patricia Rizzo. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Why don't we take a vote while you take the picture real quick on this item as before, so we can open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Mr. Alico?
Yes, just finally, I would like to say that we have established, I have to say this as a member who served in the City Council in the 90s, that in the last 18 years that I have served, I've never seen the kind of participation of the Consulate Generals that I have seen in the last 5 years. I want to thank all the Consulate Generals, not just for this event, but for the tremendous amount of community participation that has occurred in the last 5 years, and the transition has been phenomenal. The fact is that we have common interests in taking care of our citizens, our common citizens, and immigrants from your countries who are residing in our communities. But with the collaborative effort, we know that we are doing a better job than we could. In general, I want to just say thank you to all the Consulate Generals. And also, President Garcetti, thank you for coming to our press conference and for allowing us this extra time during the resolution. And I'm just glad that it passed. Thank you.
It was a squeaker, but we got it through. Thank you. Muchas gracias a todos los concejales senadores. Gracias. We're very grateful for that to go through. We are now going to go back to our presentations. I believe we have one presentation left, Council District 2. And Paul Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, we live, of course, in the international home of the entertainment industry, the place where stories are told and dreams are created. And, you know, very often in that environment, we use the word hero kind of loosely. People who are the stars of reality shows and things like that become heroes. Well, I think that very often the real heroes in our community are people who make a difference for others without ever getting recognized, without ever becoming famous, and very often at great personal sacrifice and risk. And my presentation today is to introduce you to one such hero. Rosalind Bush was driving down Laurel Canyon when her car malfunctioned. Her engine caught fire for reasons that we still don't know. The brakes gave out and her steering wheel jammed, limiting her ability to maneuver her smoldering vehicle. But Rosalind was a certified driving instructor, and she knew what to do. So she moved the car over to the side, maneuvered it over towards the sidewalk so she wouldn't hit anybody else as she was coming down Laurel Canyon. But as she was doing so, her car hit a tree, then hit a guardrail, and then rolled down the street before it flipped over onto its roof, rendering her helpless, trapped by a completely immovable seatbelt. She couldn't believe what was happening to her, and she could see broken glass all around her, while the smell of gasoline leaking from her car had Rosalind fearing for her life. She could hear people outside yelling for others to stay away from her car because it was going to blow up. Cars continued to pass the burning vehicle, car after car passed her as she sat there helpless, until one finally stopped. Out of that car emerged Travis Wade, a Sherman Oaks resident who had served in the United States Marines from 1994 to 1998. When he was in the Marines, he was trained specifically in rescue missions. After his discharge, Wade became an actor and landed roles in action films such as Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, which was, of course, a tale of a man tasked with saving the world from alien destruction. Well, on his way to another audition, Travis Wade had his opportunity to save the world, at least for one person, Rosalind Bush. Driving by the upside-down, inflamed car, Wade felt that he had to stop. He rushed to the car, and at great personal risk to himself and without regard to his own safety, Travis Wade entered the burning vehicle through the passenger door. All the windows of Rosalind Bush's car had been shattered by the impact. Travis could feel the intense heat, and he could hear people outside yelling that they were both dead inside. Travis was inside the vehicle for about 2 minutes amid the flames before he was able to reach for a knife that he carried and slice off Rosalind's seatbelt in order to free her from the wreck. With incredible personal effort and at great personal risk, Travis Wade managed to get Rosalind out of the car and away from the car to safety. Los Angeles Police and Fire Departments arrived within 10 minutes to extinguish the burning vehicle and offer aid to the injured. Miraculously, Rosalind Bush suffered only minor injuries, and Wade himself endured slight neck burns from moving in and out of the burning vehicle. Rosalind and Travis, thankfully, are both with us today. They continue to keep in touch, although Travis doesn't consider his actions to be heroic like most real heroes do. Even Rosalind continues to heap praise and gratitude in his direction, but he refuses to accept that role. Well, I'm not going to let him get away with it. We're going to recognize him today. When the incident happened, Travis said, I'm optimistic that we can all help anyone in need. You don't need to wear a uniform to save a life. And Travis Wade proved that during that fateful day on Laurel Canyon. So I'm very pleased to recognize Travis Wade. With us also is Rosalind Bush, as well as Detective Bill Bustos and Captain Ivan Menzel of Valley Traffic Division. Travis, I want to present you with this certificate. And let's over here.
Mr. Cardenas. Mr. Cardenas is going to say a couple words. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Wade, I just wanted to thank you very much for doing what you did, and you didn't get paid for it. I don't think anybody asked you to do it. You just saw the situation and reacted and acted responsibly, and you went above and beyond the call of duty for any human being at any moment. So I just wanted to thank you for doing that. And also, from somebody when I was a little, I have to say this carefully, ever since I was about 6 years old, I used to go to work with my father, and he was a gardener and a handyman. But the funny thing about it is, I thought it was normal for me to carry a little knife, a utility knife, because I used to use it all the time, and when I used to go to work with my father, whether we're cutting roses or what have you, or doing our work, because that's just one of the tools you have, and it comes in handy. I'm just very, very curious, because very few people carry knives these days, because we're always afraid of, people assuming the wrong thing. But I really, really am curious as to how you find that tool useful or helpful. Obviously, it was very useful and helpful in that situation.
Mr. Cardenas, serving in the Marine Corps, they always have us be prepared, at all times, and it's not a specific knife. It's a utility knife. It has, screwdriver, all those things that you need in case your tire pops or something happens. And I carry it in my car at all times. And the knife on it is not very sharp. So hence why, it took a couple minutes to get Rosalind's seatbelt, cut through on both ends. But I just carry that with me at all times in my car. It's got a screwdriver. It's an all utility purpose thing, and it just came in handy that day, and I still have it there, and I look at it every day. It reminds me of Ross.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, and thank you for your wonderful work. And also, you might want to sharpen that knife a little bit more often, because you never know. But based on your determination and the will that you have, you would have probably bit your way through it if you had to. Once again, I just want to thank you so much for doing what you did. It's unfortunately a rare occasion that we get this opportunity. Thank you, Councilmember Krikorian. Very fortunate to have him in your district and to be able to do this. Thank you very much and appreciate it. And let this be a lesson to everybody watching. When you see something going down, you see something wrong, especially in an emergency situation like this, act carefully, act responsibly, but act forthrightly and help someone when they're in need. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Rosendahl.
Just a quick shout out. We do presentations all the time, and we really honor all kinds of people for doing really great things. But you're a hero.
Thanks, sir.
Because what you did was save a life, put your own life at risk, and you didn't even think about yourself. You thought about the other person. That's truly a heroic act, and God bless you for doing it. You're an inspiration for all of us.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I just want to thank everybody for taking the time. And I know everyone's very busy, and to take the time out of your schedules and to honor us. I just want to say a few words about this lady right here. This woman has dedicated her entire life to serving the community, and if I had to pull anybody out of a car, I'm really happy it was this woman right here, because you don't know, who you're pulling out of cars sometimes, and it could have been the wrong person. But I'm very, very honored to have this woman in my life. We've remained close. I'm really, really proud that you guys have taken the time out of your schedules to be here to honor us, and Mr. Krikorian to take the time, the officers behind me. My mother here as well to take the time out of her schedule. It's my mom.
Come here, Mom. Come on.
But really quick, because I know you guys have a long day ahead of you.
Thank her for him. There wouldn't be a him if there wasn't a her.
It just, it comes from being raised by this woman here, a single mother growing up. And she taught me the right things to do, and then the United States military finished it off. And they do a lot of good. And what I'm really proud of is today in the forces and anybody who's served. A lot of times we don't know what we're doing, and a lot of times we wonder if we're going to get a chance to save a life. And I'm very, very thankful that I had the training from the government and the military and the Marine Corps in order to act. And I'm just very proud of the time that I served in the country and my family, and really proud that I pulled this lady out of this car. She's a wonderful human being. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And to our saved... Go ahead,
I want
please.
to thank Travis forever and a day that I'm grateful to be alive. And I lost my eyeglasses in the crash, so when I got to the emergency room, all I had was this little card that he gave me. Before he ran off, I said, "What is your name? Give me your card." And he took some pictures. I said, because always the young people, I said, "Picture of that card." And then he left, and I went in the ambulance, and I saw his name, Travis Aaron Wade. And Aaron was my father's name, and he died when I was 12. So just the sight of my father's name on the card with little orange bubbles and written, such a cute card. I thought, I look at my father's name is right. Did he come and help? Is this like a helper? And then the DMV, because I'm licensed for 30 years teaching traffic safety, sent two people. I made an interview and put it on DMV YouTube. So it says DMV video saves a senior. Because I claimed the voice of this man from the DMV said to me on the road, instead of hitting the car ahead of you, why not hit the paddle marker or the guardrail? I thought, oh, you're going for that one, so I keep hitting. I hit two mailboxes, the policeman told me, overturned a tree, and this was like a bullet. I said, oh, you're not going. I put it in park in the back, went, and I was hanging upside down, and somewhere out there was an effort to be a hero. A young man came running with a little red fire extinguisher from his truck, a little Hispanic guy, and then they start screaming at him, "Don't go near it, it's going to blow, those are chemicals." And I'm saying, "Please help." The one person trying to come, they're chasing him. Hello. So thank you, God, for Travis Aaron Wade, and to Mr. Lee Kester from the DMV, whose voice I said so perfectly, the DMV dubbed us together. So it's a big honor for them to think that driver safety could be done. And I haven't had a ticket for 30 years. So here I am, living example of driving right. I introduce you to the right to be right. I'm not taking away freedom, that's the right to be wrong. But everything is balanced. I have been asserting my right to be right on the road. And I teach this to people, accurate driving.
Okay.
And that's my life.
Thank you, Rosalind. Thank you, colleagues. CD2 has started a program of recognizing local heroes, and I do just want to take a moment to thank our communications fellow, Karen Calderon, as well as my communications director, Jeremy Oberstein, for identifying these folks and for bringing them to you today. So thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. We'll go to our general public comment now. Thank you. That was our last presentation. Oh, sorry. So as a part of that, Mr. Rosendahl has a special comment for C-SPAN.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
The cable guy.
Good morning. Many of you know I was in the cable business for 22 years, and one of the things we did early on in the cable industry is create C-SPAN. It's one of the best things we did. C-SPAN is an opportunity to watch and participate in unfettered reality of what's going on in the Congress, in the White House, everywhere else. It might be a little boring at times because it isn't all full of this glitz and glamour, but it's the real deal. And that has been a tremendous part. Come on over, get around me. A tremendous part of the democracy has been C-SPAN, and it continues to be a major part. And the cable industry funds C-SPAN and makes it go. So in my 22 years there, I was always fond of C-SPAN. In fact, Brian Lamb and I became buds, and when I did my television show, there was always a cross-play between C-SPAN and me. And today, C-SPAN holds an annual documentary competition and awards, $50,000 in cash prizes to 75 winners. The grand prize is $5,000. The school where the person is receives $1,000. The top 27 winners will have their videos featured on C-SPAN and will also be interviewed. Time Warner Cable has been sponsoring C-SPAN all week in promoting the competition in Southern California schools. I'm joined here by Dean Leavenworth, and I'll have him introduce the other two folks. We all know Dean, and then I'm going to give a quick cert to them right now. This Certificate of Appreciation, 2012 C-SPAN Student Cam, in recognition of C-SPAN and Time Warner's efforts to promote education and understanding of government. The City of Los Angeles congratulates C-SPAN and Time Warner for the C-SPAN Student Cam program and encourages middle and high school students to bring their U.S. Constitution to life in creating a 5 to 8 minute video for the National Student Documentary Competition. This competition truly educates, informs, and provides an important window into the public policy process. And Dean, I'm going to hand it to you because we all love you and know you, and say a few words and introduce the two guys with you.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is my colleague, Steve Sawyer. Many of you know we'd like to get our friend from C-SPAN, Chris, to come in and really tell you a little bit about what C-SPAN's doing. It's a great project. We're happy to be a part of it. So.
Thank you, President Garcetti, members of the Council. For the record, my name is Chris DeMonch, and I work for C-SPAN, Public Affairs Network based in Washington, D.C. I'm here before you today to inform you of my efforts to promote Student Cam, C-SPAN's annual student documentary competition. I've worked in partnership with Time Warner Cable during my visit, traveling to Southern California area schools to promote this competition. The 2012 Student Cam theme is the Constitution and You, asking students to select any provision of the U.S. Constitution and create a video illustrating why it's important to them. As Mr. Rosendahl mentioned, we award $50,000 in cash prizes to 75 winners. The competition is open to 6th through 12th grade students, with each video being submitted to be required to be 5 to 8 minutes in length. A small amount of C-SPAN programming must be used to enhance the documentary, and students are encouraged to include varying points of view from classmates, teachers, and members of the public. Students are permitted to work individually as well as in groups of up to 3 students. The grand prize for the competition is $5,000. It's important to note that $1,000 would also go to the school to purchase digital video equipment. In addition to the grand prize, we have first prize, second, third place, and honorable mention. Deadline for the competition is January 20th, 2012, while winners will be determined in March of 2012. The top 27 winners will be featured on C-SPAN. Last year in Southern California, we had over 58 entries, which resulted in 2 high school category honorable mention winners. In 2010, there were 32 entries from Southern California, resulting in 1 high school category honorable mention winner and 1 middle school third prize winner. This coming year, we'd like to not only see more entries, but also more winners. To enhance this opportunity, I began visiting area schools on Monday, which included not only high schools in the Ontario area, but also in Burbank, Santa Clarita, and Los Angeles. Additional information on this competition can be found on studentcam.org. And let me state that again, studentcam.org. As a nonprofit organization with limited resources and a relatively small staff, we are tremendously fortunate to have the level of partnership that we have with Time Warner Cable, who, by the way, is one of C-SPAN's biggest supporters, offering all of our 3 channels in their systems nationwide. Glenn Britt, chairman of Time Warner Cable, is on C-SPAN's board of directors. And the efforts to select specific schools throughout the Southern California area is a credit to the individual efforts of Dean Leavenworth and members of his government relations team here in Los Angeles. We have a long partnership with Time Warner Cable, promoting our free resources to students and teachers, and that special partnership has included not only the StudentCam documentary competition, but also Students and Leaders, which was a series we had back a few years ago. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today, and I'd be more than happy to address any questions that the council may have this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll push out all that information to our constituents as well through Mr. Rosendahl and make sure that folks know about that and can compete. Thank you so much for that information. Chaim Linder is our next speaker, who is here for our general public comment. Then we'll go to J.D. Smith, who is downtown. A very good morning, Mr. Linder.
Good morning. Is Councilman Zine in the room?
Mr. Zine is...
Since I'm in his district, and it's about his district.
Okay, why don't we wait? We'll make sure that he's back. He might have just gone...
Hello, Dennis.
Oh, there he is. Okay, go ahead, please.
My name is Chaim Linder. I live in Reseda, Llanos Avenue. Our street is one of the best maintained streets in Reseda, maybe in the city. We take very much pride in our city, in our street. And even when it comes to trimming trees, we'll do it at our own expense if necessary, just to keep the street well maintained. About 4 months ago, T-Mobile started to build a new facility underground and then a cell phone antenna above ground on Victory and White Oak. And the end of the product is very ugly. It is not done in a respect to the neighborhood. It is not done with the known palm trees that's supposed to be with it. When we tried to track who permitted to do that, we came to a stone wall. I talked to the Office of Dennis Zine, and they could not help because they didn't know. The bottom line here, I have pictures of what it looks like. If somebody would want to take it.
Yeah, you can give it to the Sergeant at Arms, and we'll make sure we get them.
And we feel that it's really a disrespect to the neighborhood. It is not done in the way that it's done in other parts of the city and in Reseda. In fact, just yesterday, Verizon came to our neighborhood council to present a professional right way to do it with drawings and pictures in a way that it needs to be done. This particular one is on a utility pole, which probably belongs to the city. However, we did not get any notice that it's going to take place, that a new cell phone antenna will be there. We welcome it, but it's a better way to do so, and we're asking for this particular one to be removed and installed in the proper way.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony. J.D. Smith is our next speaker downtown. After that, it will be Helene Nunez. Good morning, Mr. Smith.
Mr. President, City Council members, my name is J.D. Smith from JASCO, a local small business. We are a certified WMBE, MBE, DBE company. We bid it on the LADWP Owens Lake Phase 8 project. The prime contractor, Bernard Construction Company from Bozeman, Montana, and the supplier, Windwater, discriminated against our company. Also, LADWP committed a breach of contract, broke their good faith effort laws as they apply to WMBE, MBE, DBE contractors like us. We are at this time asking for the Owens Lake Phase 8 project to be pulled from the fast track approval list until justice can be served in this matter. Otherwise, that would be a travesty for economic justice in my 10th district community. We need to put this project on hold from being awarded spec number 7328 until we can meet with the city attorney's office and someone from Mr. Garcetti's office or the council member Jan Perry's office. This work is highly needed in our community. This job is highly needed in our community, and the prime contractor has already stated that they will not hire anyone from Los Angeles County. And as you can see around this building down here downtown, a lot of young people are out of work. We need this job. This is a $61 million, $500,000 job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll see what we can do to follow up. We appreciate your comments this morning. Helene Nunez is our next speaker here in Chambers, and then David Levinson will follow. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Helene Nunez, and I'm here to speak about the Chabad Project. My husband and I have lived in the same home on Chandler Boulevard for almost 40 years. I am here representing approximately 200 people that I have spoken to. I may be naive, but I have always believed that those we elect would enforce the law. Due to the fact that Chabad does not understand the meaning of the word unlawful, I am here this morning to appeal to my elected officials. Please do not allow our beautiful Chandler Boulevard to be turned into Ventura Boulevard. This building is entirely too tall for an R1 residential street. Just to let you know that this is not a racist situation. I, in fact, am Jewish and have been all my life. Please do the right thing for our neighborhood and have the Chabad comply with the law. Thanking you in advance, I remain Helene Nunez.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nunez. David Levinson is our next speaker. After that will be Jeff Grantman. Good morning.
Good morning. This week marks the 49th year that I'll be a resident of my existing home in Sherman Oaks, and I'm very proud of the neighborhood and the community. But I'm here this morning to ask our councilman, Mr. Koretz, to please see what he can do about reducing the size of the Chabad structure on Chandler Boulevard. There's no problem with them wanting to build a new house of worship structure. None of us in the neighborhood are opposed to that, but we are opposed to the inappropriate and illegal size of that structure that's under construction now. So, Councilman, please use your influence, see what you can do about reducing that building size to something more appropriate for our neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff Grantman is next. After that is Marion Diamond. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Council. My name is Jeff Gantman, and I appreciate the time this morning. As Helene said, we are part of a broad coalition in our neighborhood that's quite diverse, and several of my neighbors, some of which won't speak today, are here. Obviously, it's Yom Kippur. It's Friday. People work, so we cannot fill this room. But trust me, there are hundreds of people in this community that are concerned about what's going on. Chabad of North Hollywood continues to work on a project that, as of August 16, 2011, no longer has valid building permits. Yet on Wednesday, September 28th, they had a crane parked outside doing work on their project and had no required flashing lane closure signs or flagmen. And I called the Bureau of Street Maintenance Investigation Enforcement twice last week to verify if, in fact, Chabad had no permit for a crane on that day, and they did not. Even if they had a permit for the crane, again, at this time, they have no valid building permits at this location. I simply asked this council and my council member and the city attorney that there can't be a law for one group and then the laws for the rest of us. If something is illegal, it's illegal. Unfortunately, this has gone on for 4 years, and I'm getting the sense that a mockery is being made out of this system. And my neighbors and I, and those of us that put this coalition together, we're spending our time, our heels are dug in, and we'll continue to deal with the issue. As Mr. Levinson said, nobody is against Chabad being there. They've been our neighbors for 30 years, and they will continue to be our neighbors. And we're just asking for the right thing to be done. We're not asking for lobbyists to come in and pressure you to do something. This is a community. We just want this done right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Our next speaker is Marion Diamond. After that is Candido Mares. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Please let me know if you can not hear me.
We can hear you. That's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Marion Diamond. Like most of my neighbors, I'm a member of the West Chandler Boulevard Neighborhood Association, and I'm very pleased to say that I've lived in the house I live in for 52 years. I don't know if I'm the area record on that, but close. My children were very young, and they're not young anymore, nor am I. I'm here because of the Chabad project, not because of the existence of Chabad. They were good neighbors for many, many years. It has been, we live in an integrated area, a very pleasant area that's been there a long time. And the concern now is, as you've heard, a project that is way out of proportion for the area. I personally, I'm no expert, but if I had a child who was of age to go to a class at the building that is very far in progress now, I would be worried about the safety of the child. The street one of the streets on which it is faced is very narrow. A wide truck can hardly make a safe right or left turn there. And there are going to be small children with a very large building that does not have a suitable parking area. That is one of my main concerns.
Thank you, ma'am.
There have been accidents at that corner over the years, but this will just make it worse.
Thank you very much.
So
if I can ask you to conclude, please.
Very hopeful that the city will do what it needs to do, what it is supposed to do. It seems to me that the laws that are about building and safety and inspection are not being followed. And that's a real concern. I hope that our council member will be able to do something to make sure that what happens in that area is safe and legal. Thank you
very much. Appreciate your comments. Candido Mares is our next speaker. After that, we have Dee Tong.
Good morning, Mr. President, council members. Candido Maris, proud resident of the 12th District, where I've had the honor and privilege of being represented by great Councilman Hal Burnson, Councilman Greg Smith, and now the great Councilman Mr. Englander. We're here today to wish everybody good Yom Tov, good happy holidays. It's very important that we recognize the diversity of this great city, and the San Fernando definitely has that diversity, so we want to thank you. But in today's paper, it talks about the American dream that has taken a hit. The American dream is still alive, Mr. President. That dream starts here. And it's very, very important that this council really starts to work with the community and the business owners in this great city, because there's a large underground economy that's not paying their part of their taxes, and we need to really go after them. So we hope that you'll work with us, that we'll do everything we can to keep the city viable, but we need to do more. We're not doing enough to attract new businesses. We're not doing enough to keep businesses. We have, I have Vito Sasso with two guys from Italy. Here's a gentleman that's trying to run a business, and he can't afford the water and power. We're looking at situations where businesses are just struggling. They cannot afford to pay those bills. So please, we ask you that if we're going to make this city and keep the city number one as far as business, we need to work together to make sure that we can do this. And Mr. President, if I may, I'd like to leave with you with quotes. A great man said, "I'd rather fail with honor than succeed by fraud." I mean, this is a great city. We have great talent here. This belongs to all of us. But we have to do it honorably and with dignity. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Candido. Appreciate your comments as always. Dee Tong is next. Dee Tong. There she comes. After that will be Sharon Brewer.
Hello, Councilman. My name is Dee Tong, and my family have been living in Sherman Oak area for almost 20 years. I'm here today to address my concerns about the callback project on Chandler. Councilman Coleman, correct? We understand that this project did not start on your watch, but it is your project right now, and we are looking forward to you as our representative to get involved now. Stop this awful development and help find a solution that works for both sides of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tong. Sharon Brewer is our next speaker. After Ms. Brewer will be Rick Nightingale. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to have you out in the Valley, even though it's only every other month. My name is Sharon Brewer, and I'd like to make public comment about the first thing is regarding the Occupy LA protesters. One, I hope city officials do not ask for any special treatment for these protesters, like allowing them to stay on public park land overnight. Give one group special treatment, and you have to give all groups the same treatment, and you don't want to start a trend. Two, does Occupy LA have a city permit to protest on city property? If not, if they don't, why not? And who's responsible for the actions of the protesters? Three, who's picking up the cost for the LAPD involvement in yesterday's problem at Bank of America? I hope it's not the city general fund. Regarding the ACE program, one, before going forward, the public has a right to have a list of all Los Angeles municipal codes that they could be cited for, especially since there is no warning of a violation prior to being cited and having a cost associated to it. Two, the word discretion needs to be removed, allowing someone to use discretion without defining under what circumstances discretion can be used could lead to lawsuits, discrimination, and other things like that. I'd like to know who I could contact regarding trash, including a couch on the sidewalk just south of the Orange Line on the east side of Van Nuys Boulevard and Etna. And also I would hope that the council people, when they're looking at the funding issues for neighborhood councils, looks at things being totally transparent to the stakeholders and easy to understand, because there's a lot of stuff going on that is being hidden. Thank you.
Thank you. And Sharon, if you call 311 even while we're at the meeting, street services will come. Just give them the address of that couch and they'll come and they'll pick it up. Thank you. Rick Nightingale is our next speaker. After that is Linda Romney. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Rick Nightingale. This is regarding that John and Ken on KF5, where the Hispanic coalition is trying to get them knocked off the air because they're speaking their mind. What a bunch of garbage. I says, it's just like if you turn around and you had a neighbor that's breaking the law and you call the police and they come out and they says, they go in and say, well, it's politically incorrect for us to turn around and do anything about this because that's beyond our realm, so we can't touch that because this council wants a sanctuary city. Even some of our leaders turn around and brag that their parents are illegal. No problem. But did they get amnesty? I don't know. I call them anchor babies. That's what they are. So you turn around and everybody, every time that you say something about them, you're a bigot. You don't have a heart that one of our candidates are saying. But I grew up in this valley. I'm 67 years old. I grew up in this valley, and it was great back then. But now every time you turn around, who's all in jail? Who's getting arrested? Where is all this going to stop? Because you people decide you want a sanctuary city. Look at our president. Even his people are illegal in here, and nothing's being done about it. My father came from Canada. He got papers. When we went to visit Canada, he made sure he had his papers. He wasn't turned around and felt guilty about it. He wasn't ashamed of it. But no, you people turn around and said, well, we're not obeying the law. Just like this whole state of California. You Democrats have turned around and caused this problem. I don't feel sorry for you people that are poor and sitting around with know your jobs. Because these people took your jobs. And these people are turning around and is letting them do it. This is all your fault and nobody else's fault. I have a good life. I trained myself in 4 different trades. And I did very well. But I did it myself. Nobody gave me nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nightingale. Linda Romney will be our next speaker. Thank you for your patience and a good morning.
Good morning. I would like to address an issue concerning the Department of Water and Power. I attend the commission hearings, which are, as you know, the first and third Tuesdays of each month. And it's interesting that those commissioners wanted to get around the proposed rate increase and wanted to do so even though this council had put a hold on it and wanted to do so before our one representative, the ratepayers representative, took office. I want to tell you about the fraud that's occurring in that I personally had an underwater leak. I contacted the Valley Inspection Office, memorialized in writing that I was to get 100% credit. This was an opening bill, and then I got 50%. Then they turned off my water at 2 locations. I suffered over $100,000 worth of property damage with no water. I'm a senior citizen and I'm disabled. How do you turn a senior citizen disabled water off? Now, it's not because I didn't pay my bill. Then I went in front of the commissioner. They represent in the hearing that she's independent. She's not independent. She's paid by the Department of Water and Power. I requested under the Public Information Act in writing no less than 40 times for the doctrine that had to do with what I was entitled to as far as my discount. It was produced at the hearing, and they made sure that the Valley representative who had come out and given me the credit and I memorialized in writing was moved, and I could not find where that individual was located. To make a long story short, we're still going back and forth over this. They turn my water on, they turn my water off. If you want to live in constant fear, live with this. And I live within my means. Also, July 1st, the sanitation department imposed a $25 increase per month. That $25 on your indigent, on your disabled, and on your low-income seniors wiped out the entire low-income discount that we get. That low-income discount is the same since 1989. Can you live the same as you did in 1989? Meanwhile, we're having all of these rate increases by the DWP.
because we're a little over time. If I can ask you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for your attention.
Before you go, Mr. Rosendahl?
Point of clarification, I met with a constituent yesterday, a senior, who got that 35% increase that goes into effect besides the initial 30. There are 58,000 in that situation. I know Mr. Alarcon clearly took a position against it when we did it. And frankly, I want to revisit it. I'm going to put a motion in next week for us to talk about the low-income seniors that are really in a serious spot. And I apologize for how we went forward with it to close the budget gap. Don't get me wrong. We were all there for that. But there are many people out there that cannot afford it, and I don't want to see tragedy happen. So I look forward to us having a healthy discussion when I get that motion in.
Thank you very much. Mr. Labange, did you want to say something?
Ask the clerk, this citizen who just spoke, what district they could live in so we could possibly help them?
Yeah, I think she's going to tell you, Mr. Labange.
Yes, Councilman. This was done in District 12, and I did give a packet to Sandy within that office.
Well,
they did
Mr.
absolutely
Englander
nothing
is one
for
of the
me.
most effective people here, so I'm sure they'll help that. So that's very good to know.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. We'll return to items called special. Before that, I know it's not time for announcements, but I do want to, now that Mr. Labange has joined us, wish him a very happy birthday from yesterday. He turned... There's a very important. I think he turned 40, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I want to say, who was that great linebacker for the Rams? Mel Owens' is number.
50.
So that's it. 58.
58. All right. Very happy birthday, Mr. Labange. We hope it was a good birthday for you. All right. We have next called.
If you don't see my name on B5 of the extra section in the obituaries, I'm okay.
Thank you. May it come very, very, very long from now. We have 1C, which had a card, but the card has been withdrawn, so we can take a vote on item 1. Let's go ahead on 1C. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay. That completes the agenda. If we can go to next order of business, please.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Those are posted and referred.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Reyes requests to arrive at 11:30 a.m. on October 11th and be excused on December 6th for city business, and that meets council policy.
Okay, he is excused.
Councilmember Labange requests to be excused on November 18th for city business, and that meets council policy.
All right, he is excused.
That clears the desk.
All right, announcements. Mr. Rosendahl.
Westchester Park this weekend is going to have a whole series of events for the family, for individuals. I'm going to be there at 1 o'clock on Saturday. It's just fantastic. We've really taken that park to the next level. People are very proud of it. So if you're in the area, come by Westchester Park and have some fun with us on Saturday and Sunday.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other announcements, colleagues, for this weekend?
One on Sunday, Mr. Garcetti.
This coming Sunday, we have Ciclavia number 3, which will be happening throughout the day in many council districts. I know Mr. Labange will be out there on a bicycle. I'll be out there on a bicycle. We'll probably have many members of the council, and we're expecting anywhere from 100 to 150,000 Angelinos who will join from us from New Hampshire Avenue right behind LA City College all the way down New Hampshire to 4th Street. Then we'll jog down to 7th Street past MacArthur Park and into downtown. On Spring Street, there'll be a move to the south all the way to 14th and Spring, all the way up to Olvera Street in Council District 14, and then continuing on through Little Tokyo and up to Boyle Heights over the bridge. So we welcome folks to come out. This is a time when we open the streets up for everybody, for walkers, for skaters, for bikers, for rollerbladers, and there will be amazing places to stop this time where you can take in some food, you can take in some music, you can watch a dodgeball game or participate in it, you can see yoga being done on the streets of LA, just something for everyone, literally all over for Ciclavia. Go to ciclavia.org to see the entire map. There's no beginning and end. It is not a race. It is not a 10K. But check it out, and it is going to be great. And just as a side note, I'm a little worried about our legal advice right now. Mr. Zine is in the city attorney's chair, but I think that should not prevent us, since most of the good business has been done. And congratulations, Councilmember O'Connell. Any other announcements, colleagues, for this weekend? Do we have any adjourning? Oh, yeah, Mr. Alarcon, announcement?
Yes, to follow up on the resolution passed regarding Binational Health Month, I wanted to say that there's going to be a health fair at Richie Valens Recreation Center with the Consul Generals of Bolivia, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, are hosting this binational health fair at Richie Valens Park. There'll be free health screenings for vision, diabetes, HIV, blood pressure, high blood pressure, that is, cholesterol, Chagas disease, which is found in rural areas of Mexico, Central America, and South America. Information booths on no-cost healthcare enrollment, women's health, mental health, a whole bunch of stuff. It will begin at 12 noon. And, at 12 noon we will be having a presentation. The event is actually from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. at Richie Valens Park at 10731 Laurel Canyon Boulevard in Pacoima.
Thank you, Mr. Englander.
Tomorrow is the 2011 Los Angeles Firefighter Memorial Ceremony. It's going to be at the Los Angeles Fire Department Museum and Memorial at 1355 North Cahuenga Boulevard in Hollywood, California, 90028. I encourage all members and the public to attend. We'll be honoring all those fallen firefighters over the years. It's going to be at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Unfortunately, some will be stuck in shul, but Mr. Alarcon.
Yes, I also want to announce the 50th anniversary of the Foothill Police Station. They will be having an open house at 12760 Osborne, the Foothill Police Station, 50th anniversary.
Mr. Dennis Pizayan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to wish everyone a happy day, Monday, Columbus Day. The city, I think, will be closed for... the city will be open, but we will be closed. It is Columbus Day. Banks will be closed, I understand, and many businesses will be closed for Columbus Day, which is Monday. So happy Columbus Day, this coming Monday. And Mr. Labange,
yeah, just add all the work the Italian Americans have done, and I know the Italian Hall in Mr. Weezer District, they had a wonderful celebration that you were helpful for, but we want to thank the Italian Americans in Columbus.
Mr. Labange, I was going to continue before you interrupted me, that I wanted to thank the Italian Americans and Mr. Christopher Columbus for bringing this around to us. Now, Mr. Labange, you can take the rest of my time.
Thank you very much.
Celebriamo tutti le contribuzioni degli italiani. There you go. And tomorrow, while I know many will be celebrating Yom Kippur, for those who are not, we also will be having a little Armenia cleanup. The Catholicos of the Western Prelacy is in town, and we are going to be doing a cleanup of Little Armenia starting at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we invite anybody to come out and to join us. We'll be covering probably about 25, 30 square blocks of Little Armenia in eastern Hollywood, and we invite folks to come to that. And that will be kicking off at the St. Garabed Church on Alexandria. Any other announcements? Mr. Labange.
Monday morning, 10 a.m. in San Pedro, sports walk dedication on a lot of great athletes, including the great high school All-American from Bishop Amat High and the All-American from USC and the great All-Pro of the Los Angeles Rams, Pat Hayden, one of the honorees. San Pedro Sports Walk this Monday, 10 a.m. And a Rhodes Scholar, yeah. But not San Fernando Rhodes Scholar. I got it. I love San Fernando Road. My first job was on San Fernando Road. I love San Fernando Road.
He's got eyes on you. Any other announcements, colleagues? Do we have any adjourning motions today? If I can please ask everybody in our council chambers to rise for our adjourning motions. And to recognize Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Eugene Davis passed away September 22nd. Recently passed away peacefully. Worked for the city of Los Angeles for over 30 years, 1965 to 1996, in motor transport at the Los Angeles Police Department, where he was a senior automotive supervisor. Eugene Davis was born August 18, 1928, in Georgia. Oldest of four sons, born to Simon and Sarah Reed Davis. Attended public schools in Georgia, where he excelled academically and graduated from East Depot High School as a valedictorian in June 1st, 1945. March 16th, 46, enlisted in the United States Navy, served his tour on the islands of Guam and Saipan in the South Pacific, received several promotions, reaching the rank of Petty Officer 3rd Class, awarded the World War II Medal of Victory, honorably discharged February 14th, 48. Shortly after his return, his girlfriend, Madrid, became engaged. Were married August 27, 1950. To extend his education, took classes at Frank Wiggins Trade School, Automotive School, and West Coast University before attending Los Angeles Trade Tech. Finally, finding his way to the city of Los Angeles, working in the Los Angeles Police Department. As a young married man, he and his wife became members of the Jolly Couples Club, a group of friends that often held events to raise money for philanthropic acts. Formed the Allied Nautical Cadets, an organization similar to the Boy Scouts that offered the discipline, camaraderie, and loyalty that the Navy experience offers. Served as their commander. Also coached in the various youth baseball leagues. Since his retirement, volunteered a lot of his time at Nazarene Christian School, where all the students affectionately knew him as Papa. Eugene Davis was married 61 years to his wife, Mildred, father of 3, grandfather of 7, great-grandfather of 5. Funeral service is going to be held on Saturday, October 8th, Rose Hills Memorial Park in Sky Rose Chapel in Whittier, California. May he rest in peace, Eugene Davis.
Thank you. Also ask that we adjourn in memory of Steve Jobs, who passed away on October 5th at the young age of just 56, probably one of the most influential people in the world to change how we live, how we watch, how we listen, how we think in many ways in our daily lives. He was born to a Syrian Arab father and an American mother who traveled to San Francisco to give him away for adoption, and a couple adopted him in the Bay Area. He grew up in Cupertino, attended, I think, a semester at Reed College, but then decided that he wanted to go seek his way in the world. And he went to work for Atari, and then with Steve Wozniak decided that there was maybe a revolution happening in personal computing, and as we all know, in a garage, innovated and came up with a computer. And it was one of many, many products that he helped develop. Though he never invented a computer or did the technical work, he was the person who was the visionary about how we could indeed interact with the technology of today. And whether it was the Macintosh, the iPad, the iPod, the iTouch, the iPhone, he was somebody who managed to not only provide us products that changed our lives, but also give us the impression that we were part of an exclusive club whenever you were with an Apple product. A really visionary marketer and somebody who also told people to chase their dreams. With Pixar, another company he was intimately involved with, he changed the way that we watch movies and some of the stories that are told to generations upon generations of children. And he died at a very young age, somebody who was a great visionary not only for this country, a great representation of the American dream, but a great worldwide citizen who changed life for people throughout this earth. Mr. Zine?
Mr. President, and thank you for adjourning his memory, but I would encourage everyone to, on YouTube, see his commencement speech at the Stanford University. Watching it is really impactful about what life's about. In his description and his childhood, he came from very humble beginnings, and his life shows that one person can make a difference, not only in the city, but in the world. And obviously he made a huge difference in the world, but just go onto YouTube and his commencement at the commencement at, I think it was 2005 or 2006 at Stanford. It's absolutely impactful. Everyone should see it. Gives you a whole new perspective of life. May he rest in peace.
Thank you. Mr. Labange?
Just to add to that, when you, as has been reported, in our lifetimes there's someone like Alexander Bell or a Thomas Edison, someone who really changed the world tremendously, and it just shows you how fragile life is and how every day is an absolute blessing. God bless his memory.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. President.
Yes, I mean, I must say when I saw the speech he gave talking about his personal life, and he was raised by a single mother, it's just so remarkable what he was able to do and to connect us in a whole new way on the planet that is dramatic. It's impacting politics, it's impacting people all over the earth and connecting. It's the most amazing thing that I can say in my lifetime. And he came from such a humble background that's extraordinary. So we were blessed to have him in our midst for those 56 years.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other adjourning motions, colleagues? If not, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll? And we'll next be in session October 11th. That's Tuesday of this coming week. I hope everybody has a good weekend, Lashana Tova, and we'll see everybody on Tuesday.